In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Cricut's Infusible Ink transfer sheets to create a custom cosmetic bag. I'll be showing you how to layer these two colors together to achieve this look, and I'm really excited to share this with you guys today. I will be using the Cricut Maker for this project, although you can also use any of the Explore machines and also the Cricut Joy. Everything I'm using today is available on our website. You can check the links for that below. Otherwise, we will go ahead and get started in Design Space. Let me show you how I made this design in Design Space. We're going to be doing some welding, some slicing. We're going to be using lots of different tools today, so just follow along. If you need to pause and rewind, definitely utilize that. I'll do my best to explain everything for you guys here. Okay, so this is what our finished product is going to look like. And actually, if you come over here to the layers panel, you'll see that I have another layer hidden. So let's unhide that. And this is actually the dimensions of the makeup bag, this gray rectangle. So this is going to be super helpful for us in figuring out the sizing of our design. So I would highly recommend you start by making your own square. To do this is really simple. You're going to click on Shapes over here on the left and add on the square. And then I looked up the dimensions of my cosmetic bag, and if you come up here to size, we can enter those dimensions. So we'll unlock, and it's 9 by 6. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock that again. And then I just changed it to this light gray color. So we'll go ahead and hide this, and we'll hide our original design. I think this is a great way to help us get a visual for me to figure out the sizing, how I like how the lines line up, if they're big enough, etc. You'll see what I mean here in a second, but having a template with your actual dimensions is going to be really helpful. Okay, so the next thing that I did was added my rectangles, the skinny ones that you saw going across. So same thing, Shapes, Square. We're going to unlock it. You can unlock it down here as well. And then in the bottom right hand corner, if you click, you can click and drag and make this any dimension that you want, which is really nice. So I already had an idea in my head of what I wanted this project to look like. I knew I wanted there to be several stripes, and then obviously like this circle and my initial. So I knew I didn't want the stripes to be too thick, so all I did was take this rectangle and place it on top of my template, right? Because this is what our actual makeup bag would look like. And I just started playing with it. Do I like this thick of a stripe, or do I like it really thin? So I just kind of played with it from there, and I landed on probably something really similar to this. And then, like I said, I wanted to add a bunch of them. So to do that, we're going to click Duplicate, and I did this 7 times. Okay, so then the next thing that I did was I just kind of moved these around on my template. Again, I'm just trying to get a rough visual of how this would look. Then I can make any adjustments before I commit and space everything perfectly, align it perfectly, etc. So again, this doesn't need to be perfect, it's just getting a visual. So from here, I just asked myself, do I like how all these lines are generally spaced? Obviously, they're not perfect right now, we'll get there. And for me, the answer was yes. So that's a simple way you can do it. So that's what I did next. And then from here, I'm going to move this guy off to the side. Once you commit to the amount of lines that you want, go ahead and highlight all of them. Come up to Align, and align to the left. So now they're all perfectly aligned to the left. Then come back up to Align, and we are going to distribute all of these pieces evenly. Do you see how there's incorrect and random spacing? So there's actually a tool that will perfectly distribute them so that they have even spacing between all of them. And it's under Align again, and we're going to say Distribute Vertically. Now watch all these spaces. Did you catch that? So now everything is perfectly aligned. The same spaces from here to here to here, and so on. I love using that tool. So now that that is perfect, we've got it aligned perfectly, it's distributed evenly. Then we are going to weld this together, which is in the bottom right hand corner. I'm just going to go ahead and change this to this pink color right away. The next thing that we're going to do then is to add our circle. So if you click on Shapes and click on the circle, we're going to go ahead and drag this on top of our design again. And once again, if you'd like to use your template to help you size it, I find this to be really helpful. So I knew I wanted my circle to go through all of the lines obviously make this however you'd like. And so I just played with the sizing and I made mine pretty big, just about like that. So again, I'm going to move this away, and then now I'm going to highlight all of this, and we're going to come back up to align again and say center. And now this is going to put this circle in the center of our design. And now from here, we are going to use the slice tool. Told you we were using lots of tools today. So come down here to slice, which is right next to weld, and click on that. And then if you look over here in the layers panel, it's created a lot of different pieces for us. And as we move them here, you'll see how it's sliced our design. So we don't need any of these circles, so I'm actually just going to highlight them all and delete them. And now we have our lines with our circle. Then the next thing that I did was I added the letter. So click on text and type in your letter. You can use any font you want. And if you use this arrow again down here, you can click and drag to whatever size you'd like. I believe the font I used was an Arial font, so let's go just check that out quick. I know it's on my computer. I think it kind of just comes with most computers. It's this Arial Rounded MT Bold. That's the font that I used. So find a font that you like, and you could do your initial, you could do words if you wanted, you can do whatever. But decide on that, and then again, highlight all of it, align, center. We're using the align tool a lot today. And then again, come to the bottom right hand corner and click weld. All right, that's like the bulk of our work. We're really close to being done. Now we're going to use the contour tool, and this is going to allow us to use the two different colors of infusible ink, the two different layers essentially. So we're going to duplicate this guy, and now let's start with our top one here. We're going to use the contour tool in the bottom right hand corner. Click on contour. Contour allows you to hide parts of your design. So what I did was I just hid every other line, and then if we click the X, do you see how it's gone? And I left the C with that one. You can do this, of course, however you'd like. And then I know when I come into this one to leave that first line and hide the next set and hide the C. Then I'm going to make this guy purple. And then honestly, that's actually about it. You can drag it up to get a nice little visual if you'd like. And then we can take this over to our template. If you wanted to change the size, again here you could. Let's say we wanted to make it a little bit smaller. And there you go. So I know that was a lot. We use lots of different tools. We use weld, we use the align tool, we use slice, we use contour. It's a good lesson in design space, I guess. But there you go. That is how I made this entire design. Okay, so then we will hide our template because we don't need it. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete this guy because I already had made mine. So we'll unhide it from there. Okay, so now make sure you have your correct machine selected, and then click on Make It. I have one more trick that I want to show you guys that I'm using today in this project. I'm going to combine these two mats into one mat. Why do this? The biggest reason is to save time. So instead of having to load one mat, have it cut, unload, take that material off, add the new material on the mat, reload, etc., you can add both layers to one mat. It's really easy to do as well. So find the layer that you want to move and click these three arrows in the top left-hand corner, move object, and then click on the mat you want to move it to, click confirm, and now we're on our mat. And then from here, I just rotated these guys. Did you know you can do all these things in Design Space? There's lots going on in this little tutorial. And then we'll rotate this as well. So now when I go, I'll line up my pink infusible ink on the left here, and then I'll line my right infusible ink all the way on the right side of my mat. And then the last thing to do is to mirror your image, and that is over here. Click on the mirror button. All right, perfect. So we'll hit continue. We'll connect to our maker, and for our cutting setting, we are using Infusible Ink Transfer. We are going to go ahead and get started by applying our transfer sheet onto our cutting mat. I went ahead and cut mine down to size. I use a paper trimmer to do that, and I really like using that to get these nice straight and exact cuts. So when I'm placing the transfer sheet down onto the mat, I just kind of like to place it down and then use either a scraper tool or a brayer tool to push down. I find that the least amount of contact that I have with the transfer sheet, the better results. Of course, it's impossible to not touch it 100% of the time, but any way that I can eliminate contact, I like to. And the brayer is really nice for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply my purple on as well, because as you saw on the mat preview screen, we moved this over so that they can cut on the same mat. And this will be really nice and save us just a little bit of time with cutting. And actually, I see a bump in my transfer sheet right here, so I am going to lift this up and remove whatever was underneath there. So make sure everything is nice and smooth, there's nothing underneath. And then from here, we'll go ahead and get this loaded in. And I like to do one last check. I remember to mirror my image in Design Space, which I did. Everything's lined up, I've got it sized correctly, and we are off. While this is cutting, I did want to highlight, as you'll see here, the colors of the transfer sheets when they first come out of the box compared to the color on the box is a little different. The box color is way more vibrant, and that's totally normal. These will change to these vibrant colors once the heat is applied. So I just wanted to let you know that in case you haven't worked with infusible ink before, it will turn into these beautiful colors. So you can kind of see side by side here, just a little different. So now that that's all finished, we will unload this from our Cricut. And then the next thing that we're going to do is remove these from the cutting mat. Now to do this, I like to flip my mat over and then bend the mat back while I hold the material straight. And then we're going to weed our transfer sheets. So if you've never weeded infusible ink before, these transfer sheets, it's a little bit different than weeding iron-on or vinyl. It actually feels like a thick paper. And so we're just going to use our hands to weed it. And what I like to do usually is start by kind of rolling it like this. So this will help to just kind of get everything loosened up, as you can see here, so that it's easier to peel off. Okay, so then from here, I like to start in one corner. And then I'm just going to peel up the paper from the white carrier sheet that it's on, which you can see right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and rip this. And then you can just peel away your transfer sheets. Now, if this is your first time working with infusible ink, I would say a simpler design is better. This would be a great beginner infusible ink project because it's pretty simple. But overall, I really like to keep these simple in nature. I just think it can be a little bit more challenging weeding infusible ink. So that's why I like to just keep things on the simpler side. Maybe you're a professional at weeding infusible ink. Do whatever works for you, but there's just my 2 cents. So as you're going here, it might be helpful to like roll it back a little and help it to get off of the white sheet, but it should just pop off nice and easy for you. If part of your design accidentally pops up, it's not a huge deal. You can actually just go and push it right back down. Perfect, so there's our first half. And then I actually tried to weed this carefully so that I could save this larger piece here in the middle for a future project. So keep that in mind when you're weeding. We can reuse this, so that's perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and weed this purple one. We're going to do the same thing, start in the corner and then just kind of rip a little and then we'll peel it up. I'll include some links to other projects that we've done with infusible ink above in the corner here and also in the description below, and definitely go check those out. But otherwise, there are our 2 layers. Alright, so now the next thing that we're going to do is to layer our infusible ink. So to do this, we're actually going to manually remove the pieces of this purple transfer sheet and move it onto our pink one. So all we're going to do is peel up one piece, and then we are going to stick it onto this pink sheet. Just get it lined up and then push down. And the nice thing about this infusible ink, these transfer sheets have grid lines on them, so it will help us to make sure that we're keeping it straight. So I'm just kind of looking at the lines just to help. And then just push down with your fingers. So it's that simple. We'll go ahead and do the other one. It's also nice because you can kind of follow the line of where the circle will be and line it up there. So again, I'm just trying to space it evenly between the two pink layers, line it up on the end here, and then push down. If you don't love where you placed it, simply just peel it back up and press it down again. So we'll do this guy. So again, lining up on the left, trying to space it evenly between, and pressing down. If you are new to layering infusible ink, I think this would be a great project to get started with because the lines are straight, so it's somewhat simple. So it can be a little bit easier than if you had a more complicated design. And then we'll get these last few. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I think it's going to be really cute and fun. I think these would make really good gifts, or if you are a bride and you're looking for some bridesmaids gifts, I think this would be really fun. My sister gave me a makeup bag that someone made with a Cricut and it had iron-on on it, which was really cute, but after I washed it so many times, the iron-on started to wrinkle. So the nice thing about infusible ink is that it becomes one with the material, so that's super nice. Alright, and then from here we'll carefully remove the letter. And then we'll do our best to just get it centered on here. And then push down. And again, if you don't love where you have it, you can just pick it up and move it. So I'm just going to look at everything one last time. I do think I could move my C down a little bit. It also might help for you to flip it. So here's what it looks like from the other side. So you can see that there's a little bit more space down here than up here. So I'm going to go ahead, just peel that up and try again. And then we'll push down. And I think that looks so much better. Okay, so that is how you layer using infusible ink. You just peel up from your one sheet and you place it on the other sheet. So it can be as simple as that. Like I said, if you have a more complex design and you're trying to layer, it can get a little challenging in my opinion, but that's why I think starting with a project like this would be a great one to get started with when you're layering. So here's what the makeup bag looks like when you buy it from our website. It comes actually in a pack of 3, so you get 2 of the more like medium-sized bags, which is what I'm using today, and then you get 1 larger bag. So it comes in a pack of 3, which is really nice. If you are making one for yourself, you can give 2 as gifts. So I just wanted to point that out for you. They do only come in the 3-pack. The next step is going to be to use our Easy Press to transfer the infusible ink to our makeup bag. So we'll just need a few more items for this. We've got our butcher paper, which comes inside of the transfer sheet box. We've got some cardstock. I just have some scrap on hand. I would recommend just using a scrap if you have it. And then we've got a lint roller. And then obviously we have our makeup bag, which looks like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is lint roll my makeup bag. This is going to be super important because if there's any dust or hair or anything lint just hanging in like the fibers of the bag, it could actually end up ruining your transfer. Then we'll go ahead and take our cardstock paper and tuck it inside your bag. The reason we do this is because in case there's any bleed through the transfer, then it's going to get onto the cardstock paper and not onto the back side of our makeup bag, right? So that is super important. Alright, that's pretty much it as far as prepping it goes. So now we will turn on our Easy Press and preheat it to 385. I am just following the directions that I showed you from Cricut's heat guide. Definitely always reference that. And then we'll bump this up to 60 seconds. So it's all preheated and we are going to start by preheating the bag. So we're going to take that butcher paper and we are going to cover the cosmetic bag. And then take our Easy Press and preheat for 15 seconds. Perfect. So that's just going to remove any moisture that may be in the bag. So don't miss that step. All right, so then the next thing that we're going to do is get our transfer sheet applied onto our mat. So we're just gonna get this lined up where you'd like it. I'm just trying to do my best to center it and make sure it's straight. And then once you've got it where you'd like, we can go ahead and press down. So this carrier sheet, this clear sheet, is sticky, but just for extra measure, I am gonna add some heat resistant tape because we do not want our design to move. So this will just help keep it in place. I feel like you can't go wrong with being extra safe. So definitely go snag some heat resistant tape if you're going to be making a lot of infusible ink projects. I have had my tape for like 1.5 years now and we're still going strong. So here's what it looks like if you want a little close up. And then we're going to apply the butcher paper back on top. And then it says to apply with light pressure for 60 seconds. So you'll just want to make sure you're entirely covering your design, and then we look good. And so we'll just hold it for the full 60 seconds. With infusible ink, it's really important to make sure you're having consistent pressure of your press across your design. So make sure that you're not on top of the zipper. Make sure that you have it like bumped right up against. That's super important, especially if you have like a seam on a t-shirt or something. You want to make sure that you're having consistent even pressure and that nothing underneath like a seam or a zipper is causing the easy press to be uneven. Perfect, so we're all finished. I'm gonna just go ahead and turn that off. And now I'm just gonna let it cool just a little bit. It says that we can do a warm peel, but it's pretty dang hot right now, so I'm just gonna give it a couple seconds. But while that's cooling, let me just show you up close. So you can kind of see some of the ink. The design has lifted a little bit and you can see some of the ink. So I'm really excited to pull this back and see what it looks like. All right, so I'd say it's cooled a little bit. It still is pretty dang hot, but I'm impatient. So we'll just carefully remove the transfer sheet and that tape, and we can reveal our design. And there it is. I'm super, super excited about this. Let me just show it to you up close. So do you see how vibrant those colors are now? I'm super excited with how this turned out. I love it. I really think these would make great gifts. Everyone, I think, could use a little customized cosmetic bag in their life, and how fun that you could make it for someone with your Cricut. So that's how you can layer infusible ink to create this design for this cosmetic bag. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If I can give you one tip here with working with infusible ink, it's to make sure that you have that consistent, even pressure. To make sure your plate is covering the entire design and that you're pushing down evenly across the whole thing. That tip for me has made a huge difference in getting successful projects. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and we'd be happy to help you out. And like I said, all of these items are available on our website, and I will include the links for those below. And thanks for watching the video.